Top right corner of the map, our blue Terran player is going to be ByuN. There's a best of 5 semi-final here in the ESL Open Cup Europe, number 92. As his opponent in the bottom left-hand side. Doesn't play in a lot of these, but when he does play, he oftentimes comes out on top. It is Reynor, our red Zerg, bottom left-hand corner. Best of 5 semi-finals, see what the hell happens. It is on the European server. Just something we have to note, it's the ESL Open Cup Europe, which means we don't play on the Ferris server like sometimes we do in the bigger events. This is a European Cup, so we play on the European server, which means Reynor will have that ping advantage. And I do imagine that will have something of an effect here during the course of this best of 5. We'll see how well ByuN copes with it, though. And just to mention as well, because I'm pretty sure when a series involves Reynor and ByuN, it's going to be a hit on YouTube, so I'm probably going to put this one on the YouTube stream. And, the YouTube channel. And, if you're watching this on YouTube, as always, you know what I'm going to say. Hit the like button, subscribe if you enjoy the content as well. It helps us out a whole bunch. And, yeah, it just really is a great way of, obviously, helping more people find the videos. If everybody that actually watched the YouTube video hit the like button, or even 50% of you hit the like button, we would have, I imagine the videos would pop the hell off. I imagine at least. Alright, so, with that said, first of all, TvZ12, thank you so much for the 14-month resub, and welcome back. Appreciate the 14-month resub. Thank you very much indeed. As we get ourselves going. You can see our Overlord heading towards the upper right side. As Reynor is going to take 3 hatches nice and quickly in this game. I'm going to see ByuN at least for this. And it's just setting up. Starport is on the way down. Starport coming through, and a few drones continuing up as well. Overlord and the Queen continuing in. As we do have a couple of extra Marines continuing through. And yeah, again, a lot of this setup right now as we get this underway. Sorry, a little bit of a slow start. Just had to quickly reply to somebody. But now full focus and full steam ahead. As our Hellions are coming through. It's an early medevac as well. So 2 Hellions into Marines. We're really going to focus on a lot of Marine production early. And that does give you a good chance of obviously putting some pressure on in a bit of a different way to usual. Because Overlord's going to kind of know about it as it gets up towards some high ground. But of course, high ground Marines can see that high ground. And that is going to be a dead Overlord. So Overlord goes down. That's a nice catch already. Now we'll have the medevac coming across the map with everything to try and deal some damage, I'd imagine. Going to load up all the Marines. The Hellions are going to stay at home for now, actually. So they're going to wait just in case there's a counterattack or something serious that they have to deal with at home. Just let the Marine drop try and deal some of the initial damage. It's good because it can obviously lift up those Marines. You can keep them alive. You don't have to fully commit them in or anything along those lines. It's just going to be seeing our medevac coming down the left into the main. There is an armory kind of late behind this as well. So it's going to be kind of a delayed set of Hellbats. So if you make Reynor believe he can defend this just with Queens, and then he can kind of like just, you know, he's just droning kind of greedy, then you show up with a Hellbat attack. Maybe there's some real power behind it. I like the build of ByuN. It's a little bit tricky to read. It's a little bit tricky to be prepared against, I feel like. I like it a lot. And he's killed the only Overlord on his side of the map, which was the only Zerg unit on his side of the map. So there's no scouting this for Reynor. He is making a few more lings now. Is making a Bane Nest and got a Spine up at the third as well. Let's see if all of that matters, as our Hellbat attack will be ready to go here in just a few moments' time. So in we go. Now, Bane's Nest isn't ready yet. A lot of this will depend on the micro of these queens and keeping them alive. As obviously the Spine Crawler definitely helps a lot here. Just that extra damage output throughout will go a long way. The Lings kind of want to jump on the Marines. Obviously, if they're on the Marines, they're not taking as much of the Hellbat splash. It's actually a pretty good defense as one Ling gets in across the map as well. Over here, we've got a couple Hellions that looked as though they maybe could have made the natural mineral line, but didn't get that far. Now going to try and morph them into Hellbats, but one of them was super low. And ByuN is already going to be taking a ton more damage on these Hellbats without getting a lot done. Transfusion is good from Reynor as well. And ByuN so far is pushed away. A few additional racks coming down from ByuN the engineering base in the back of the natural. And do you see our 1-1 upgrades and stim all coming through here as well as our command center is going to be finishing. So we'll have 3 bases to work with, but this really just, in the end, didn't do much from ByuN. And Reynor has been able to get away with going straight to 70 drones, more or less. And we're going to start seeing the repercussions of that on ByuN's part fairly soon, where he's going to start struggling with a lot of the unit production of Reynor, I'd imagine. As this was a pretty neat fight as this Marine Hellbat force continues to go down. So that is going to be cleaned up. I was just going to be seeing a couple of medevacs continuing through. And I'm just going to be seeing our 3rd CC. And I'm morphing into an orbital as well. Evolution Chamber starts up from Reynor in the main base as a whole group of extra Banelings are continuing on in. Orbital's just going to float on down to that low ground. Again, the 1-1 upgrades on the engineering base are going to be done fairly soon. Again, a whole bunch of additional reactors on the way up as well as our Ling Bane force gets up and around the top. Obviously, at this stage, Reynor's already thinking about, hey, how and where can I start these counterattacks? When can I, get some of this damage rolling out here? As Ling Bane, well, will be in good numbers to come in from the left-hand side. Just seeing the medevacs loading up and heading down the south. They need to be careful not to fly into Queens. Obviously, because ByuN's kind of been pushed back now for a bit, the creep spread is getting to be a little bit redonkulous. It's kind of all over the shop. So that's definitely something else to keep in mind as you're going to be seeing Ling Bane kind of rolling through at the front. So already jumping in onto this natural. Tanks get sieged. A few Banes will make it to this mineral line anyways. We've got units hitting the 3rd at the same time, and ByuN is just going to fall apart. That is Reynor picking up the first map of this best of that. The backup plan. Not using the hotkeys. Alright, in the bottom left-hand side, taking the 1-0 lead very convincingly in game number 1. It is going to be our blue Zerg player, Reynor from Clash. Top right, our red Terran. 2 SCVs moving forward, which means we are proxying this up. It is going to be ByuN in the upper right-hand corner of the map. So a proxy for game 2. Let's see how that goes. Now, I do have the first ranks dropping down over here. It's a spawning pool first from Reynor. Well, that's just brutal because he's immediately going to have the correct answer to what ByuN is doing. So just having the spawning pool first is going to set you up in a very good way. Definitely getting you into the right direction so far. This is really rough for ByuN. I mean, Reynor just has a good read, has a good idea. Tell you what, Reynor is really good at kind of figuring out when someone might do something like this. Like, he played Demaga early, if you weren't here, and he basically said, you know what, I think Demaga might 12-pool drone pool. 2 games in a row. So twice in a row, Reynor opened 12-pool, and just basically got the free win. So yeah, Reynor's kind of game sense of when his opponents might go for certain things seems to be insane at times. Like, it's really, I would say, really quite impressive. Wow, he's actually just going to throw down a Rotron too. So he's actually straight up just cheesing. Like, he's just straight up going for a roach roll in. This is so much of a hard counter to the proxy racks. This is absolutely freaking brutal. Yikes. That's not good, huh? Well, ByuN sees his pull first. He's already going to be feeling bad. He's going to feel even worse when he realizes that Reynor is setting up into roaches already. Like, he's going to be able to start roaches moments after the bunker starts building. This does not look good in the slightest if you are a ByuN fan, guys. I hate to break it to you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The Marines are going to chip their way through that hatchery, so they'll be taking some shots. The fueling's to the top side. As another bunker going to be going down here as well, and the few Marines will jump into that bunker. I mean, right now you got to be questioning, why is it letting me get the bunker up so easily? Well, this is why, because the roaches are going to show up soon, and I'm going to start fighting this. Wants to try and stop the second bunker building. Does get one SCV. Marines come out. Roaches move down. And the roaches get a Marine already. And, well, only one SCV is just not going to be able to keep this bunker repaired against 5 roaches and a queen. He loses 1 roach. I feel as though that other roach is, still kind of playing a dangerous game as well. Across the map, Lings are putting some pressure on. A Hellion in production to clean up the Lings, but then you really want to get a Tech Lab and a Cyclone on the way. As another roach is going to go down here. Reynor's control of these roaches has been sloppy. That's a little bit brutal. I feel like if his control was a bit better, imagine he has like 2, 3 more roaches right now. I think keeping all 3 alive might have been difficult, but I feel like keeping at least 2 alive would have been plausible. That's a very different game as Ravagers come through. Of course, still 1 base here, ByuN. As he sends his 2 barracks back home, these Marines are going to be all there is for the moment. As the factory does get the Tech Lab I was talking about, get into a Cyclone. A little bit of a safer defense as the Ravagers have a lot of kiting ability against Marines as well, but you've got to be careful of when the Marines try and turn around on you just like that. You've got to be very, very cautious. Still great for Reynor, right? Just 2 base versus 1. Finally, ByuN begins to expand. He's going to get a starport onto a Tech Lab, and he'll build a Banshee for safety. But, I mean, Reynor sees everything as well, so he's, like, fully aware of exactly what's happening. He knows what's going on. He has not a care in the world right now as these few Marines come over, and they will put some damage onto the Ravagers. That one Hellion gets chased away to the side. A few Ravagers down to the bottom here. Escaping out of there as well. So a few Marines of ByuN are just going to be heading back up to the top. And yeah, we've got the CC on the natural expansion coming through, just about halfway done at the moment. Our few SCVs are going to turn back into the main base. Banshee's still in the center. Raven is on the way up from ByuN as well. And we got ourselves another barracks just building up here. So, I mean, the game gets to go on. And to be fair, that's more than I thought. I really thought this was going to be a much harsher counterattack from Reynor, where he gets across with like 4 or 5 roaches. And ByuN's like trying to repair, just about gets a Cyclone out, just taking a bunch of damage in the process. It wasn't quite that severe, right? It wasn't quite that serious. So, in that regard, at least, you know, that's a good sign. This lone Banshee comes down to the south. As we do see the last halfway done, Ling Speed still building in the main. The Spore Crawler just going to get itself burrowed, and a couple of Extractors coming through too. Just so you know, we're about to complete as all of our drones continue up. Again, we just got ourselves into a pretty reasonable setup for the moment. This Rax will drop onto a reactor as well. And a whole chunk of Marines on their way. A couple of drones already go down as an order turret actually drops in the back of the main base of the Raven. An interesting choice at this point, actually, but does come through, gets a couple workers. Yeah, and it's not something you'd usually expect, and I'm not really sure what the overall plan is with the Raven, but, well, I mean, so far so good, I guess. Now, Reynor starts up road speed. He'll also start up a carapace upgrade. And I assume he's going to start up missiles as well, and once again just turn this into a big 1-1 roach attack. It's what he did against Keller's on this map in the quarterfinals. I would be shocked to see anything too different here. There's the +1 missile stance, so yeah. It was a different way of getting set up, of getting going, but the idea is going to be similar as the Banshee shows up and does get 1 drone kill, the Extractor being chipped away at. couple of queens coming through, and they are going to push that Banshee back out of here. So chasing that away over through the bottom right-hand side. As our Marine tank force will just be kind of coming out the front. It's just going to be settling down a little bit as well. So it's coming out over here as our Baneling Nest gets going in the back of the third base. We do see the Raven taking a few shots, the Banshee taking a few hits. Dropping down a little bit more creep spread once again. Marines and tanks on the way down the south. We do have the Queens going to be here ready to rumble. Obviously, you don't want to get those picked off as a single Roach starts to move over. And Reynor's already kind of teching up in this game. He's not kind of fully focused on the 1-1 Roach timing. The Baneling Nest is already done, so it's a really quick transition which he's getting set up for. We're just coming through. Tank's actually going to siege. Oh, that's a horrible siege, though. Double tank killed immediately, and the medevac at the same time. I mean, that's tough going, obviously, for ByuN, who's going to lose those double tanks now as other units continue to move on forward. But I mean, the kind of the straight up start of his army is just being, you know, broken down. His timing is basically into the timing of Reynor. Usually the Zerg would hit a timing of 1-1 here, and that's kind of the timing that ByuN has attacked at, when the Zerg would usually maybe look to attack. The only thing that's good for ByuN is the fact that Reynor maybe did build that Baneling Nest, did invest a little bit into Baneling speed. It hasn't just been purely Roach Ravager production, as Corrosive Piles are coming down, and it's quite obvious here that this is not going to work for our Zerg player. ByuN is, for our Terran player. ByuN is going to be losing out on a couple more units. He turned around there. This tank goes down as well. ByuN GG's out Reynor. I mean, again, the start was just brutal, and everything. We are going to begin in the bottom right-hand corner of it with the blue Zerg player from Clash. Give it up if you're cheering on Reynor. He's been pretty dominant so far, it has to be said. It's been a pretty one-sided affair up until this point. Top left, red Terran player is going to be ByuN. Well, he's just going to straight up Roxy Rax over on the right-hand side here. Once again, Reynor's going to pull first, and you got to say that once more, this does not exactly look brilliant for you. To get this going, just going to be seeing our third SCV showing up, dropping down the barracks. So triple racks coming through right now in the top side. As you see the Overlord of Reynor making its way around the left, so it's going to be going around that side. Meanwhile here, these racks are obviously continuing through. I mean, the fact it's a pool first is once again already brilliant for Reynor. It's a proxy triple racks from ByuN, so very committed, in fact. Very committed. More committed than last time, which was just the 2 racks. So hatchery sets up on the natural, and the Roach Roaring is going to be building on the back of this main base from Reynor as well. It's just getting that up and rolling. Killing's coming through. Bunker just going to take a bit of damage. Fungus is going to get cancelled up. Just going to be seeing these couple Marines and an SCV coming through. And it's going to go for the hatchery. So Hatch taking some shots at the moment. Already taking some damage. Just going to be seeing the Queen coming down. I mean, again, once the Roaches get out, this becomes a simplified defense. Now, it's funny because Roaches are going to be that thing where, against the 3 racks especially, having Roaches is just in general amazing. So, you know, the Terran isn't expanding as quickly, so as long as you can break out And just to see these few roaches going to pick up a couple of marine kills. And pressing forward here, just going to start jumping in on top of that bunker. So bunker taking some shots. Like I say, you just can't repair against this many roaches. Now you need to get that SCV. Yep, stop that next bunker coming up. These marines trying to kite back, but yeah, this is unfortunately, my friends, probably where we start to figure out that ByuN is dead in this entire best of 5. Ravager starts to morph in, the few roaches gathering at the front. And a few additional marines coming in from ByuN as the Overlord of Reynor goes through to check out the main base. You see Roach is taking a little bit of damage. I mean, Overlord sees again the exact timing of the factory too, so you know exactly where your opponent is at right now. It's going to be seeing another Roach coming through. Marine still pressing forward. The Ravager is going to put some damage out, and a Marine has fallen already. Corrosive Bile doesn't land just yet. Oh, just get one more Marine though at the end. It's able to pick that Marine off, and a couple more Ravagers still coming through. Of course, Reynor keeping the hatch alive is amazing. Against the 3 racks, you can probably get away with it if you do lose the hatchery. It's probably still alright. Just because the Terran has no follow-up really at home, you know. Their factory is so much later than the 2 racks. You know, their command center absolutely doesn't exist for a long time. That was nearly a really good bile. Marines just about got past it as there's a fair few Marines moving forward. Reynor has really just been droning. He has a Queen, 2 Roaches, and a Ravager that he's going to try and micro out of this with. The Queen went down, so he has the Queen from the high ground now. A few drones will pull in too. I mean, obviously a couple more Roaches might not have gone amiss here, but the general idea, I think, is good that this is probably going to turn out to be a defense. You just lose another Roach, though, and every time you're losing a Roach, right, it's just less units to work with. As, yeah, ByuN's just going to tap out of here. Did he have something on this side of the map? I saw something flashing over here at the end. I feel like there was maybe like a Ravager that ran across. I think there's like, yeah, a single Ravager on the other side, which is just being annoying, but not really game ending. Just the game is kind of over in general, is what